Great, thank you, Christy. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to our monthly PatternFly community meeting. Today we're going to be covering a lot of exciting topics, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. Do host this meeting monthly. As a reminder, make sure you're muted if you're not presenting to avoid any noise feedback. I'll be sharing out this meeting on YouTube, so please follow along at our YouTube channel. It's PatternFly, so it's easy to find. And if we will have a Q&A session at the end of this meeting. So I'll ask you, because it is a fuller agenda, to hold those questions until the end of the meeting. And then we're going to probably have plenty of time to answer them. If you have any other questions that you want to dig deeper with PatternFly Community on our meeting today, please go to our forum, and that is linked in our agenda. And if you're wanting to share out this meeting with any friends, the link is in the agenda as well, so go ahead and share it out. All right, we'll get right into it. So for our agenda, we're going to be covering some new features and enhancements. Katie and Tatani are going to cover those. Christy's going to cover the new PatternFly developer tutorials. Abby's going to cover how you can get plugged into our Medium and our Twitter, our new refreshed presence there. And Matt Cronin is going to cover some research and progress on our website. Lastly, I'll cover what's coming up and what we're working on that will be available to you in PatternFly. And we'll wrap up with Q&A. Okay, to start off with features and enhancements, Katie and Tatani, I will pass it off to you.
All right, I'll begin. Let me just quickly share my screen here. Second. So I'll be going over the new features for Application Launcher, and by extension, some new features that I implemented for Dropdown as part of that. So for Application Launcher, the two new major features are Favorites and Search, which is on our documentation site right now that you can go check out. And this is what it looks like. So instead of just having a simple list that you can just click one item in, now you can actually filter these items with text and that you can customize. And now there's a little star here, and if you click the star, it'll add it to a favorites list. So it'll pin it to the top of your list and preserve that. So I can just test really quick. So you could do like just group 3 items, and maybe you want a favorite one. That'll pin it to the top, and that's also preserved. So you can see that there's still 2 favorited items here. And then additionally to that, it expanded the keyboard navigation. So from, let's say, you have it focused, you can press enter to open it, and that'll get it immediately to the search input. But you can also use the arrow keys to go up and down. And now, and this is included in Dropdown as well, left and right. So you can actually navigate through all of the new elements in this list and interact with them as well. And because of the way Application Launcher has wrapped Dropdown, you can now use a dropdown with the same enhanced keyboard navigation. So if you have a dropdown item that maybe has more than one interactable element, now you can actually use the arrow keys to go left and right. And I think I've covered it.
Thanks, Katie. I'll pass it off to Tony.
So I have a few demos for new features that were added. The first one would be adding the ability to select a row to the data list. So this is data list documentation, and now we are able to click on a row in a data list and it will be selected. And the second feature that I'll be demoing is part of the list component. Previously, we weren't able to have an ordered list, and now we added the ability to have an ordered list. You can order by number, lowercase letter, uppercase letter, lowercase and uppercase Roman numerals. You just specify the type. Like here, so the type is by number here. And then the third demo is for the options menu. Previously, we didn't have the functionality to group options or to add a title to the grouped options. So now we can group the options. So here we have 3 different groups, and these 2 groups, they added a title. Okay, and that's it.
Great, thanks, Ashane. All right, we're going to move into the PatternFly developer trainings and the work we've been doing on that.
Thanks, Rachel. Can you see this presentation slide?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So I'm going to give an update about the PatternFly developer training that was recently launched on January 7th. A little about me. So I'm the current lead for PatternFly developer training, and some of the things I do in this role is help write the tutorials, coordinate efforts between developers, researchers, and technical writers, communicate with the team at Katakoda to convey our needs for the platform, and I'm also tasked with getting feedback for the tutorials. Outside of this effort, I split my time between PatternFly Core and working on integration products. And I left my contact details below, so if you have any follow-up questions after this presentation, feel free to reach out to me. So in early 2019, the PatternFly team set a goal of creating training for developers to teach PatternFly best practices. Our design team spends a lot of time documenting components and patterns and things like their usage and behavior. And our development team spends time on how to use PatternFly in your application, how to use different components that we offer, and how to use our variable system. But we wanted to expand on this documentation to provide interactive training and learning that's targeted at higher level concepts for developers. And really, there are just some concepts that can't be covered by simply documentation. So the primary target audience for the training is developers working on or using PatternFly in their application. However, it's not limited to designers, researchers, and PMs. So we encourage everyone to try out this training. And the modules have a variety of difficulty levels, which you can see on the module. It'll have either beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Beginner modules are for users who are new to PatternFly or new to a concept in PatternFly. Intermediate modules are for users familiar with PatternFly and have some prior experience with PatternFly. And then the more advanced modules are for regular PatternFly users, and the modules involve higher level PatternFly, React, or CSS concepts. So as of now, we have 19 tutorials total. 5 target HTML and CSS, 2 target more like the basics, introductions to PatternFly React. We have 3 PatternFly React components, the toolbar, table, and select. And then we have 9 PatternFly React charts. And these modules were written by PatternFly expert developers who've been working really hard on developing these tutorials. And a special mention to Dan Lebrecht, Michael Spaxman, Katie McFarl, Nicole Thean, Michael Coker, Jen Giardino, and Sarah Rambacha. We also teamed up with content strategist Abby and technical writer George Heek, who refined the content instructions and structures of the tutorials so that content was polished. And we also got countless rounds of feedback from designers and developers. And towards the final few weeks, there were a lot more people on the team who helped out. So thank you, everyone, for your hard work. And now I'm going to walk through how you can access the tutorials. So they're on the website. And depending on whether you've selected React or HTML in this switcher here, it'll be under Overview and then Training. So you can see these are all the React training modules. And then if you were to switch this over to HTML training, there's the HTML ones. And then, so I could just walk you through like the table, for example. So you'll see that it's actually embedded in the PatternFly website. And if you wanted to get back, you could just click that link there. So it's important, like if you're doing this tutorial, not to go back or anything because you'll lose your progress. But basically, this uses the Katakoda platform, which is open source. You can see an introduction here. And then once you start the tutorial, you'll see instructions on the left side. And then you have an editor in the right corner here. And then this basically displays your application in an iframe in the right bottom corner. And you can click through the steps like this. And then when you get to the end, we encourage you to fill out this survey. And this survey is should only take like 2 minutes, very quick, but that'll give us really good insight into how you find the tutorial and what we can improve on in the future. And so what's next? Before we really develop out this ecosystem of tutorials, we're really focused on trying to find any bugs or any way we can enhance the current set of tutorials that we have, and also like any of your feedback that we'd encourage you to leave. And this is the GitHub repository. And so you can just file any issues here. And as you can see, we have here more information about how to contribute coming soon. So we're currently working on some contribution guidelines, which will basically have a whole list of how you can actually create a tutorial yourself that fits in with the scope of what we already have. But yeah, the main focus right now is focusing on feedback and filing any issues that we have. Yep, that is all from me. Does anyone have any questions?
Great, thank you, Christy. Thanks everybody for your feedback on the channel. Keep it coming. All right, so next we'll hand it off to Abby, who's going to be talking about our refreshed Twitter presence and our new and thriving media presence. So I'll pass it off to you, Abby.
Thanks, Rachel. Alrighty, hopefully everyone can see my screen. Does everyone see the slide deck?
Yes.
All right, great. Hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I am Abby, and I am the UXD content strategist here at Red Hat. And I'm really excited to talk with everybody today about a couple of PatternFly's content channels. So recently, we've been focusing on building PatternFly's digital identity and really getting it in front of the public. And so far, we've seen some incredible success by using Medium and Twitter to do just that. So over the next 10 minutes, just as a quick snapshot about what I'll be talking about, first of all, kicking off with why we're promoting PatternFly, then I'll just deep dive into Medium and Twitter pretty briefly, and then wrap up with a final thought about how everybody can get involved here in our content efforts. All right, so first of all, why are we spending time and resources promoting PatternFly and getting it in front of the public? Well, first of all, I think we can all agree that PatternFly has some really useful, helpful information, and we want to help as many people as possible with their design and development efforts. So that is one reason why we want to get PatternFly in front of more and more people. Also, we want to strengthen the PatternFly community with shared knowledge and engagement, and we can do that by creating content on a more regular basis. And by leaning into more public-facing content channels, we can all work together and inspire others to really focus on creating accessible and consistent user experience. So as a community, we can enable PatternFly to reach as many people as possible, and currently we're doing that with Medium and Twitter. So here are our two main social channels for PatternFly. Medium, for those of you who aren't familiar with a Medium publication, it's pretty much a blog, and if you go on the PatternFly site now, you'll realize that it no longer leads to our older WordPress blog. It now leads to a more updated Medium publication, which we'll be leaning into for sharing our blog articles. We also have Twitter. Our handle is PatternFly_DES, and Twitter is great as just this stream for us to share regular information and updates with the community. Towards the end of my talking, I'll share some links for how you can access these channels as well. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Medium. Here's the what, why, and how. Medium is pretty much in its infancy for PatternFly. It launched sometime in December. But in a nutshell, it's this centralized location where we can bucket a bunch of different articles written by a variety of contributors. And these articles pretty much run the gamut. They can be about PatternFly and open source, but they can also tackle topics about the UX industry at large. Why are we leaning into Medium? A lot of great reasons. But most importantly, we can reach a wider audience on Medium. So Medium's readership is huge. They have millions of visitors every month, and it just continues to grow. Our audience is also on Medium. A lot of the people reading Medium are in the technology and design. And we're also benefiting from Medium's domain authority. So we get a little bit of an SEO boost, which helps our discoverability. Also, Medium is a great way to build awareness for PatternFly. So as I just mentioned, some of our content is about PatternFly on Medium, but some of our articles are more thought leadership articles about the UX industry. This is really important for reaching people who aren't using PatternFly, who normally wouldn't engage with the PatternFly site and normally wouldn't engage with PatternFly content. By serving them relevant and useful content that they need, we're allowing them to kind of stumble upon PatternFly and discover it in a more organic manner. So building awareness for PatternFly and possibly even introducing it to more. And then lastly, joining the larger UX conversation. Right now, there are some really amazing companies and industry experts that are using Medium to share their content. So it's about time that we joined that conversation as well, and we put ourselves out there on Medium and established ourselves as knowledgeable experts in open source and UX. How can you contribute? I'll talk about this in a bit more detail here in a few minutes, but we really want to kind of foster that sense of community and right on our Medium channel. So anybody is free to contribute articles. If writing isn't your thing, that's totally fine. You can still show your support by following PatternFly on Medium and also clapping for articles. And although Medium is fairly new, we've hit some milestones, which is pretty exciting. Milestones in our contributors, engagement, and also in readership. So first of all, we have a variety of contributors already. We have about, I think, 7 or 8 articles on there right now, and definitely plenty more in the works. And the writers come from all different backgrounds. They have different areas of expertise, so they tackle different topics and bring fresh perspectives. It's really important that we encourage diversity in our writers because with all different people creating all different content, our publication is more multifaceted, and that kind of diversity ultimately creates a richer experience for our readers. Also increased engagement. So Medium launched in December. You can see a little bit of views and some visitors there, but we really started leaning into this publication in the new year. That's when a lot of contributions started rolling in. And as you can see, our views and our visitors completely skyrocketed, which is great. That's more and more eyes on PatternFly. Also growth in readership. You'll see minutes read here. And this is an important metric to look at because it shows that people aren't just clicking on articles and then leaving. People are actually staying on the articles and reading them. So it shows that they're finding value in the content. And that is our end goal. We really want to share knowledge and share information. All right, so that wraps up Medium. Now we can jump into Twitter. What's really great about Medium and Twitter is that each content channel is helping each other. So our Twitter really started picking up when we started sharing Medium articles. So because of Medium, our Twitter is doing better. But because of Twitter, our Medium articles are getting a wider. So it really is this cool mutually beneficial relationship that the two channels have. So unlike Medium, Twitter is not, or our Twitter channel isn't really in its infancy. It's been around. Our Twitter handle is PatternFly DES, and I read the other day that somebody characterized Twitter as a microblog, which I thought was really cool because unlike the long form content that we're sharing on our Medium blog, we're using Twitter to share those quick 280 characters or under tweets. And it's a great way to just share PatternFly specific updates, promote our Medium articles, and stay in more regular contact with the community. So why are we using it? Well, just for that reason, to share articles and quick information, but also to engage with the community. There are people retweeting tweets, liking tweets, responding to them. And it's encouraging this microblog is encouraging these micro conversations that are happening more and more. How can you get involved? Well, if you're on Twitter, definitely follow PatternFly DES, and you can also like and retweet tweets so that they reach an even wider audience. We've also hit some milestones with Twitter as well. So sharing Medium articles has been a very good thing for PatternFly's Twitter. We've gained new followers, more tweets, tweet impressions, mentions, and most importantly, community connection and engagement. Also, fun fact about these metrics. So this is just a 28-day snapshot that I took from Twitter, and I collected these metrics a few days ago. So our numbers are even higher, and we recently surpassed 800 followers on PatternFly's Twitter, which is a huge accomplishment. It's showing that people are finding value in the content and that they're becoming more aware of PatternFly and they're interested in connecting with others. So as a final thought, like I said earlier, we want to keep our content channels just as open, transparent, and inclusive as PatternFly is. So the way that these channels can really thrive is if more and more people get involved. So here are some helpful links. You can follow PatternFly on Twitter, engage with the tweets. You can also write an article for the Medium publication, as I mentioned earlier. There is an editorial process in place, so if you don't identify as a strong writer, that is perfectly okay. Definitely contribute. We'll work with you in editorial. And there's just a link right there for you to submit a topic idea. And if it's a good fit for the publication, we'll be in touch with more information. If you're still not interested in writing, that's fine too. Just follow PatternFly on Medium so you can get instant updates when articles are released. And also clap for articles on the publication because it's a great way to show your support for our writers that are really putting themselves out there and sharing their ideas. So that's pretty much all I have today. Thanks for listening, and I'm really excited to see how these content channels grow and develop with everyone involved.
Thanks so much, Abby. All right, I heard that earlier in the meeting you were getting robot Rachel, so I hope that it's now improved after I've rejoined, and from here on out it'll be smooth sailing. I'm going to pass it off to Matt to talk about our website user research.
Thank you, Rachel. Let me share my screen out here and okay. So as Rachel mentioned, I'd like to talk a little bit about what we're doing with the website and a user research initiative that we are going to be kicking off in the next week or so. So I want to start by talking a little bit about what are some of our higher level goals here, especially around the website. So back in November, we had a PatternFly Leads meetup where one of the things we talked about at that time was what do we have to do to make see PatternFly being recognized as among the group of, quote, best in class design systems out there. As you know, there's lots of design systems. We would like to be considered to be in the top tier of those systems. And one of the things in having that discussion that we realized is we really need to up our game in terms of what is our website experience like, how do we present our content to our users, to our consumers, and making sure that our website and the documentation we provide there is top notch. So some of the areas that we wanted to focus on, generally refining visual look and feel of the website. So when you land on the PatternFly website, it communicates a quality experience, creating a better connection to a PatternFly voice and brand. So in the way we communicate information, really kind of trying to project what is unique about PatternFly, how is PatternFly unique and different from every other design system out there. And the web experience is really a big part of how we communicate that, improving the quality of documentation and learning materials. So once you enter the website and start looking for materials on usage of PatternFly, making sure that that documentation makes sense, that it provides the information that you need when you use it, whether you're a designer or a developer. And then finally, making it easier to find content on the site. We have a lot of content, and we know from feedback we get from different aspects, whether designers or developers, that it's not always easy to find the right content on our website. So to start on this journey, we really felt like engaging in user research is the right place to start. This will hopefully provide some insights into the current user experience and identify some opportunities for improvement. Some objectives, therefore: understanding users' preference for organizing, navigating information. How do users want to navigate the site when they do land on a page, especially our component pages? How do they want to see the information on that page organized, presented? Improving the presentation of component documentation. Are we providing the right documentation? Is it clear? Is that documentation provide what you need as a designer or a developer to make use of the component? And in general, using this information we collect through research to drive a more compelling user experience. So Steve Kaufman from the Red Hat UX user research team is going to be working with us on conducting this study. So I would like to turn it over to Steve at this point, maybe talk a little bit more about the methodology he'll be employing and how you can participate.
All right, thanks, Matt. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Steve. I'm the user research intern for the UX research team at Red Hat. And I'm going to be the one mostly conducting this study. So for the navigation, we're going to be conducting a series of first click tests to determine which of a set of 4 different navigation approaches is the most effective for finding specific information. And we chose first click testing because in terms of navigation, you want to make sure that a user can accurately locate the correct information quickly and easily. So first click, we basically tell them, you are looking for this piece of information on the site, and then they will click where they think they'll find that information. And so we get an idea of how fast people are able to locate information and whether they're looking in the right place. As for the documentation, we are going to be collecting feedback on the current online documentation so we can compare it against the current set of proposed reorganization mockups that we have. That's going to be more of a usability test where we ask people to perform tasks where they look for specific documentation, and we're going to collect both qualitative and quantitative data. The first click testing is going to be a strong balance of quantitative and qualitative, but the documentation is going to have a larger focus on qualitative data collection, so we can kind of get a sense of how users are interpreting the documentation structure, any pain points they have with trying to find specific documentation, and whether they have any ideas about what might be more efficient for them in terms of organizing the documentation. So we'll be conducting these in the next few weeks, and so to participate, can you go to the next slide, Matt? Thank you. We're looking for 20 PatternFly users, designers or developers to participate. The 20 participants is for the first study, and what we were looking for is people who have experience with either designing or developing for the PatternFly library. And so if you want to get in touch with us about participating, there's a Google form that I am linking in the chat, and we'll also email out to everyone, where you fill out some information about your role, how long you've been a community member, and some other demographic information. And then I'll contact you about participating in the study. And so since we only need 20 people, we'll use the first 10 designers and the first 10 developers who respond to in the first phase of the study for the navigation. But if you are not part of that first 20, then we can still use you for the second phase of the study. So don't be shy about it. We need all the data we can get so we can make sure that we design the website properly.
So, oops. Thanks, Steve. And I guess I'll ask if there's any questions.
Yeah, Matt, this is Vince.
Go ahead.
For the first study there that Steve just talked about, you're looking for people who have done design for the website or using the website?
People who design Fly in general, not for the website specifically.
Yeah,
Okay.
in other words, designers who are users of PatternFly, like yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, designers or developers who are users of PatternFly.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
Any questions? I'll hand it back to Rachel.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, I should be sharing my what we're working on next slide. So this is our current milestone in progress, some things that are going to be coming up next that you'll see released at the end of this milestone on our website. We have several enhancements we're introducing as well as a couple of features. This is not an exhaustive list, nor does it include our bugs that we'll be fixing, always continuous and in process. So lots going on there as well. The enhancements that we'll be introducing are the hover state to icon and masthead. So a new hover state to our icons in our header across our UIs. And then an inline edit for a single row in a table feature. Showing and hiding a column in a table, as well as an update to our drawer. Then we'll be introducing the alert group and master detail features. Please go ahead and click into those issues to learn more about the designs and what's in progress there. And then I've also linked our current milestone in progress, so you can see everything we have in the works for this milestone that we are hoping to release soon. So that is it for our agenda today, and next we are on to our Q&A. So what questions do you have for our presenters today? We have plenty of time to field questions before we drop. Okay. Well, if you do have questions after today, please post them on our forum, which has been linked in our agenda, and I will see you next time. See you in February. Thank you. Bye.